Good evening and welcome to the River Valley Sports Report. I'm your host, Joe Brooks, with my co-host, Joey Powers tonight. Tonight, we're going to take a look at Fall Mountain Sports as their fall preview episode, as well as we're going to start diving into some of the early season fall results from these local teams, as well as we have an upcoming schedule that we can preview to let everyone know where you can see your favorite players playing in the next week or so. So I'm going to hand it off to Joey Powers now to give a little introduction on his end.
Hi, I'm Joey Powers. In addition to the local sports, we're going to be doing our weekly segment called Let's Catch Up. We have two different topics about the NFL this week. We also have our random athlete of the week, where this week I'm going to be quizzing Joe on a random athlete. We also have our final thoughts and a preview of the upcoming show. In addition, we also have random top five, where we'll be talking about random stuff in professional sports.
So let's dive into the Fall Mountain Sports preview here. So I'm going to start off with the boys soccer team. The boys soccer team is looking to take a big step forward this year after going 6-7 in 2024 with a first-round exit in the NHII playoffs. I talked with head coach George DeSonis in his first year with the boys this year. He says the goal for the program is really to get to their first victory in the playoffs in the last 13 years. Last year, George was with the girls program at Fall Mountain and turned them around and made them into a semifinal contender last year. And I believe 2 years in a row now they went to the Final Four. So this year, the Wildcats are replacing 6 seniors from their 2024 squad, and they'll be looking to this year's senior class to provide leadership. Senior Lennon Dersher is an exciting midfielder with great touch, ball skills, and an eye for the goal, while also emerging as a superb communicator and leader. Senior forward Carmine Bacted, looking to bounce back from a season of injuries in 2024. The coach describes him as a bundle of energy. The backfield, senior Zach Hearn and Evan Parker have formed a solid partnership as the team's center back. Hearn is a real threat with the ball and is a tremendous player in the set pieces. Parker is a good player with the ball at his feet and begins attacks with his ability to connect on long passes. Goalie Ben Whiteman is coming into his own in his senior season, and the coach notes that his games and confidence have improved. There's a lot of youth to be excited about as well. Wings Lucas Haynes and Joseph Paulette can run for days, while Elias Tissonis, Malachi Bascom, and Malachi Basted, all freshmen who made this year's varsity squad, have bright futures. Coach describes Bascom as one of the best players on the team in combining his skills with the other players in the midfield, while Bactud is a versatile defender who loves to create scoring opportunities. The Wildcats began their season on Friday, 8/29, on the road at White Mountains Regional High School with a 3-3 draw.
As for girls soccer, the Lady Wildcats are coming off a season in which they reached the semifinals of the NHII divisional playoffs. The team will be replacing a lot of talent that has moved on from Langdon. First team All-State selections midfielder Mariella Tissonis, and defender Clara Stewart. Second team forward Sarah Frederick, and honorable mention Skylar Blanchard. The Wildcats will not only be looking for new leaders to step up this year, but also a new coach and stepping in coach Tim Goodwin comes to Langdon with plenty of coaching experience of his own, having been at middle school, coach at both Lebanon and Hanover, New Hampshire schools. Rivendell Academy in Vermont, as well as time at Colby Sawyer College in New Hampshire. Even though a lot of senior leadership and talent have moved on, there's plenty to be excited about in Langdon for the ladies this season. They returned senior wing Aubrey Thomas and senior defender Maddie Hawkins, who are both coming off junior seasons in which they were named as honorable mentions to the D2 All-State team. Another senior, Sophie Grillone, will be looked at as the team's vocal leader this season, while junior Violet Colburn has taken a big step forward during the summer in the preseason and will be in goal for the Wildcats this season. With 30-plus girls out for the program, the culture of being successful, working hard, and being a team are truly back with this group. There are so many girls ready to step up and work hard for the future. The future is bright, as well as the outlook for the 2025 season. The Lady Wildcats opened their season on Friday, 8/29, with a 2-1 victory over White Mountain Regional High School at John Cooper Hubbard Soccer Field.
Looking at the Fall Mountain Wildcats football team this year, they'll be looking to take a step forward as well after a tough 2024 season. Coach Jim Tremblay said last year the team was hit hard with injuries, concussions playing a major role in leaving the team shorthanded in many of the games. He feels if they can stay healthy this year, they'll have a real chance to be competitive in the Division III field. The program is also looking to replace first-team All-State players Tyson Patch, who is a tight end defensive end, and kicker Austin Guerre. They have about 30 kids out for the squad this year, which is about normal for them. I was invited to practice, and what I saw was the coaching staff was truly focused on the basics, trying to drive home how important it is to be consistent in everything you do, in order to improve each player's individual play as well as forming a better team in the end. Coach is looking to build it, so they will come. As the team becomes more successful, hopefully more kids will be looking to play football at Fall Mountain. Success this year starts with the offensive line. While depth is not a strength for Fall Mountain, size is. Seniors Josh Town, Garrett Asanowicz, and Peter Orberg anchor the line, with junior Mason Thibodeau and sophomore Ben Farnham. Coach expects big things from this group. A senior Max Wyman will be the starting quarterback for the second straight season and has really improved in his reads and throwing ability here in the preseason. Coach Tremblay also mentions senior Landon Albert, senior Gabe Shivani, and juniors Paul and Alton Young will be joining Wyman in the backfield. And during the preseason jamboree, which they held last Saturday, Joey, Coach Tremblay said he was really impressed with his senior wide receivers Tanner Michaud and Jake McIntyre. Both have showed improved route running and catching everything thrown their way. Finally, two newcomers to the program should help the Fall Mountain Wildcats in 2025. In senior Edward Baker and tight end and junior Liam Dunning on the interior line. Fall Mountain season is scheduled to start this Friday in the annual Silver Bowl as they host Stevens at 7 o'clock up in Langdon, New Hampshire. Joey?
As for the Wildcats golf team is coming off an 8th place finish in the New Hampshire Division IV High School Championship golf event. The team had a successful 2024 with an overall record of 13-9. Senior Owen Tatu finished off the 24 season on a high note with a top 10 finish in the New Hampshire Division IV High School Championship event with an 81 at Keene Country Club. The short season starts off with a road match hosted by Conant High School, which features teams from Hillsborough, Deering, Newport, and Conant. The match will be played at the Shattuck Golf Course in Jaffrey, New Hampshire, in which the Wildcats went 1-2, posting 39 points on a very tough track.
The Wildcats volleyball team finished 2024 with a 9-8 record, which placed them 13th in New Hampshire's Division II. They lost in the first round of the playoffs. Returning senior Maybelle Dussault returns to anchor the young Fall Mountain team this year. Dussault led the team in attacks as a junior while placing second in serves, third in defense. Dussault has a very high volleyball IQ, according to her coach, and has emerged as a team leader. Junior Avery Palo led the team in sets as a sophomore. Palo and Dussault are the only two returning starters for the Fall Mountain team from 2024. The team does feature returning varsity players, juniors Brooklyn Gay, Luna Locke, Avery Richardson, and Madeline St. Pierre, while sophomore Nola Hamler is the other returning player with varsity experience. While the team may be a young team, there's a lot of excitement amongst this team, and it should be a very fun season. The Wildcats team will begin their season on 9-3 with a home match against Guilford at the Den at 6 p.m. Now we're going to dive in to our fall sports scores from this past week, everything that has happened so far this year. So on 8/27, the Fall Mountain golf team went 1-2 in a match at the Shattuck Golf Course, scoring 39 points. They lost to Hillsborough, Deering, and Newport. The Fall Mountain boys soccer team traveled to White Mountain on the 29th of August, came back with a 3-3 draw. On the 29th also, the Fall Mountain Wildcats ladies soccer team at John Cooper Hubbard Field pulled off a 2-1 victory. Goals were scored by Susie Tabo and Ari Colby, and in the net for the Wildcats, junior Violet Colburn had 5 saves. The Bellows Falls girls soccer team went on the road on August 30th to have a victory against Long Trail that came away with a 3-2 victory to open the season. On September 2nd, the Fall Mountain Wildcat girls soccer team got off to a 2-0 start with a 5-1 road win at Kearsarge. For the Wildcats, senior Aubrey Thomas led the way with 3 goals, while sophomores Ari Colby and Susie Tebow also rounded out the scoring, each tallying their second goal of the season in just 2 games. Junior Violet Colburn was once again solid in the net, recording 6 saves for the win. Also on September 2nd, the Fall Mountain boys fell to 0-1-1 when they lost on the young season with a 2-0 shutout loss at home to Kearsarge. On September 2nd, the Fall Mountain golf team went to Canterbury Woods for a tournament hosted by Concord Christian. They went 1-2 again, this time scoring 66 points against the field. And on 9-3, the Bellows Falls field hockey team opened their season with championship aspirations with a 4-0 victory against Division I foe Brattleboro. The Fall Mountain volleyball team last night opened up their season with a loss to Guilford at the Den. The Wildcats took the first match of the night before falling in the next 3 to lose 3 out of 5 first. So Joey, before we move on to Let's Catch Up, This is where this show gets exciting, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
All these sports you just read, these are all activities that highlights are going to happen, great things are going to happen, kids are going to do amazing things. And this is what this show is going to be about.
This is an action-packed week. This is how it goes. Once it starts, it's like boom.
It's boom.
It just
it's
takes
game
off.
after game after game. And so this is where it gets exciting for me.
Absolutely.
I think this is where it gets exciting
Yes.
for you. So hopefully we can make exciting for the kids as well. So far
Absolutely.
we've filmed a bunch of stuff. So we'll be moving forward with that.
And it's a great variety, Joe. I mean, it's not just one or two different sports. It's
Right.
a lot of
Right.
different sports. It's great. You know, this is going to be exciting.
A lot of athletes involved in a lot of things this fall.
Yes, absolutely.
And then we'll start doing some pieces on some of these feeder programs and stuff to kind of talk about even more of the sports as we start moving into this. So this is exciting, Joey.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so
Can't
Joey,
wait.
let's dive in to Let's Catch Up. Segment today, our first part, why is the NFL far and away the top sport in ratings, money, etc.?
I think a lot of it is it by far has the least amount of games of all the others. Like it's not even close. Even though they're going up to 17 games the last couple of years, they're trying to get it to 18. I mean, baseball has 162 games. Right. Baseball is pretty much every single day once
Correct.
It starts. Hockey's 80 games. Basketball's 82 games.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so it's like I don't know what the word is, like just it's because it's such a it's a long season, but it's such a short period. It's just one game. It used to be one day and 2 days. It used to be Sunday and Monday. Now they're doing Thursday, Friday at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Sunday, Monday, which we're gonna dive into that too.
And then
as
you
well.
get Saturdays at the end of the year.
At the end of the
stuff.
season,
Right.
you know. So I mean, I think it's just the fact that it's exclusively just from September to February.
So I mean, when I was real young, I don't think NFL was king. Somewhere, I don't know, maybe in the 90s, it kind of became the big cash cow. And I wondered if fantasy football at that time became the thing. Kind of talking about the same instance as you are. It was 1 day a week.
Right.
You could pay attention to your fantasy football team 1 day a week, set that lineup, and then watch all the games happen, and the score was settled that
And you're
day.
done. Yeah.
Right. Or Monday would include.
Right, the Monday night game.
Whereas all the other sports, if you were doing fantasy, you had to check daily, you had to check these other things.
Absolutely.
And you had to have restrictions on how many things you could do. And now with sports gambling,
I was just going to
feel
mention
like
gambling.
the NFL may even have a bigger advantage on that.
Absolutely.
Because personally, I do some sports gambling through some of the sports books, and the NFL is the easiest thing to understand how to bet when you don't really know much about what you're doing.
Right, and you can pretty much bet on anything.
Right.
I mean, that's crazy.
I can't lie. You know, sometimes I'll throw some spare change at things like Russian table tennis and stuff in
Yes.
the morning because it's kind of fun. I'll throw a 28-cent bet at something, and then through the DraftKings app, you can actually watch the sport live. So I've actually got to watch like Russian table tennis, snooker, a few other random sports I'd never heard of.
Explain what snooker is again.
So snooker is like the bumper pool. You know,
Right, okay,
the pool
right.
that has the little spots in the
Yep.
middle. I saw German handball through this thing. So I've been introduced to some pretty wild sports that are out
Yeah,
there.
no,
and also
definitely.
you get to, and you know, I work at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. So Korean baseball is something that occasionally is on. That's kind of interesting because there's American baseball players that are over there. So you're like, wait a second, that's where this guy ended up.
Yeah.
And it just kind of
Okay.
makes it fun. So I do think the NFL being that sole proprietor of like the Sundays does faction into that. Now, I do like where you went because I kind of want to segue into our next part of this. Can the NFL jump the shark? You talked about how many days they're doing it. Last year was the first time they did Christmas Day, which was an NBA thing forever and ever.
And they killed the NBA ratings-wise.
Exactly. But now you've got Monday night, Thursday night, sometimes Friday night. You've got Saturday night at the end of the season, Sunday night. So you basically got Tuesday and Wednesday with no games.
Right.
I personally feel those Thursday night games often aren't very good.
No.
I feel like the teams aren't really prepared or ready. A lot of times it's two teams that aren't great because the NFL has a thing where everyone gets a primetime game.
Right.
So a lot of times you end up with those lower teams that are playing in that game. Do you think the NFL can jump the shark? Can they oversaturate the market?
I don't think so.
No?
I really don't. I mean, because, you know, you mentioned Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, guess what's going to be on Tuesday and Wednesday? College football.
Right.
So, I mean, you're literally going to have football every day of the week starting, well, it's already started, going to the end of the season. You know, so you're talking basically the end of August through the first week of February, there's going to be pretty much a football game almost every day.
Right.
You know, maybe not with the college football playoff, the gaps in between that. But, I mean, do you ever get sick of football?
Not really, but I don't tend to watch a lot of the Thursday night games.
No, I don't. I will now because of my job. That's going to be the one night that I'm actually going to be able to watch it. And tonight's game should be interesting.
Yeah, I will watch tonight. It's opening night. I do tend to watch opening night, but as the season goes on, I tend to tune out those Thursday nights. It's not all of a sudden. It's not a game I'm interested in a lot of the time because usually it's not a great game.
No, it's generally not.
So,
but one thing is, all Thursdays and Saturday games, are they all Amazon? Are they all Prime? I think they got
maybe.
I think they have a hold on most of them. I'm not sure about all of them.
I think Sunday night is Peacock,
right?
Or NBC,
or Peacock, right?
Yeah, and then Monday night's ESPN or ABC.
I think it's both. Yeah, because, and I think Sundays. I know I have some Paramount games coming up.
Paramount.
I have the Patriots Raiders game on Sunday. I have.
Right.
So it is definitely broken up.
It might be Prime for that, and I know Prime was the Christmas Day games,
right?
Which I thought for sure would kind of be an issue because that has always been the NBA's thing, and I wondered if that might be a jump the shark kind of moment where people are like, I don't know if I'm going to tune out the NBA because the NBA always puts premier games on Christmas Day.
You know, you're going to see the Knicks versus Celtics or the Knicks versus the Lakers. You know, you're going to see the big time matchups,
right?
But I'll be honest with you. Do you think they're getting more money because do you think people are subscribing for Prime specifically for the Thursday night games?
Possibly, but that's also part of why I think they may jump the shark. How many subscriptions do you have to have now to watch the NFL?
I know. I have Paramount. I have Peacock. I have Prime.
I mean, admittedly, if you just had cable, you could do it that way.
Right.
But I don't want to pay for the cable bill that comes at this current time.
No,
so I go through the streaming services, and so I am
still a lot cheaper.
So it is definitely a thing where it's my own doing. But I want to save the money on the other end. So, yes, I have to have 3, 4, 5 subscriptions.
Yeah, I have like 6 streaming services.
It's happening with baseball now, too, because they have a Apple TV night where they have games on Friday nights on Apple TV. So if you don't have Apple TV, you can't get the games and stuff like that. So it is kind of stretching out over the streaming. And I do personally wonder if there is a point where the NFL can thin it out, because if the games aren't good, and they consistently aren't good, people won't watch, I don't think.
Yeah, that could be, but what are your other options going to be?
I don't know.
I mean, because the other thing to point out, you know, you're saying that everyone has to have a primetime game. Is it going to get to the point where everybody has to have an overseas game too? Is it heading in that direction?
That is a good point, because they're doing, Mexico City this year, and they did Brazil last year.
I know the Falcons are going somewhere this year. That's their first time.
And I think someone's going to Germany this year as well.
Yeah.
It might be, I think someone was going to Germany this year, which is the first time they've been going to Germany as well. So, I mean, Jacksonville does seem to sign up every year. I'm assuming if someone could move to London, I think it would be the Jaguars at this point.
I feel bad to whatever city gets them overseas because they stink.
They do tend to not be great.
Yes.
They do tend to win when they go to London, though. So I think they do put on a good show over there. But I do feel like if a team was going to go over there, it might be them. And that's something that I feel like could be a jump the shark moment. Because what do you do then? What's the logistics of a team in Europe if it's one team?
Yeah.
If you have a whole division over there, maybe you could make it work. But do they just come stateside for 6 weeks at a time, and then everyone goes over there once a year?
I don't know. That's a very good question, because why would you put just one team?
Right.
You know, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like, what does hockey do? How many Canadian teams are there? 4?
5, 6, something like that.
So, I mean, not that could, but that's also different, too, because they're still part of North America.
Right.
You know, so they're not actually going to another continent.
Right. So anyways, I think there's an opportunity for the NFL to potentially jump the shark. I think it's going to be hard to do, but it's still a cash cow at this point.
It absolutely is. Absolutely is.
So Joey, let's dive in to the random topic of the week. So I'm going to let you start with this. I want to talk about the top 5 team logos that no longer exist, or the team no longer uses.
Isn't existent.
Yeah,
right.
So go ahead and get started.
I think this is going to shock you, because you know how much I do not like any New England teams whatsoever.
Yep.
I totally missed the Patriots uniforms from when we were growing up.
The Pat the Patriot?
I didn't know what it was called, but those things were so cool.
Yeah, Pat the Patriot, absolutely.
I remember watching SportsCenter when they first initially changed to the next uniforms.
Yep.
I don't even think they're not the same uniforms anymore now, are they? Didn't they change them again?
No, I think they're on their 3rd or 4th iteration since they came from the Flying Elvises.
I don't remember who it was, the sports anchor was. But he's like, now seeing Drew Bledsoe in the uniform, we can assure you that this is not an AFL team, that this is actually an NFL team, because they were terrible.
Yeah, at that time they were.
The new uniforms were awful. The old Patriot ones were just completely like cool, old school.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that was like old school football back in the day. You know, and I always liked them. You know, I had a Steve Rogan. I was Steve Rogan one year for high school.
I was Steve Rogan for Halloween. Yeah,
I had the costume for Halloween. That's what I mean. Yeah, I did too, and I didn't even like the Patriots.
No, but it was it was a cool helmet.
Yeah, my dad was like, "This is awesome. This is what you're going to be."
Yeah,
and so I was
a cool helmet.
Yeah. Now, what about you?
So I would stay with New England. Another one that I liked quite a bit was the Hartford Whalers logo.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was just unique. I know the whale still exists, but it's not quite the same. But the Hartford Whalers logo, because that was such a iconic kind of team in New England in the 80s, 70s, 80s, Gordie Howe. They had a lot of great players. They played at the Mall. It just stands out to me. I saw a lot of games. So there's a little bit of homerism in that for me because I went to a lot of games down at the old Mall. So a lot of fun was had. So I would say my fourth one in this list of our top 5 would be that Hartford Whalers logo.
So I have one that's kind of in reverse, not one that I missed, but more like one that I'm glad is gone. Yeah. Those old, ugly, hideous Tampa Bay Buccaneers jerseys.
Oh, the pewter.
Oh my God, were those? Their jerseys now, they're just so much better.
Yeah.
Those white and orange things, they were like almost completely white.
Right.
And then it's just little like orange stripes on the side and down the pants. Those things were so hideous.
Yes.
So they definitely made a big time upgrade with that. And they looked so much better with the all orange and then like the Pirates and stuff. Right. They did a really good job with that.
Nice. But yeah, I would say another logo that I really enjoyed as a kid that no longer exists is the Quebec Nordiques.
Oh wow!
Yep.
Yeah,
that was a unique twist of a hockey logo that was always kind of stuck in my memory, and I loved it as a kid. I don't know why, because I didn't follow the Nordiques. I knew nothing about them. I just liked the sweater, the shirt, the logo on the shirt was neat to me.
The one that I would say I didn't necessarily like, but I kind of missed. The Seattle Supersonics.
Yes.
I mean, it's just, you think it's Seattle Supersonics, you think of two people instantly, right?
Sean Kemp and Gary Payton.
Gary Payton, absolutely. Those two. Those were the ultimate Supersonics.
Although you might think of Detlef Schrempf, too.
Yeah, man, yeah. But, and it's just, they were good.
Right.
They never peaked to what their total potential was because that team they were two of the best players in the league at the time.
They had the biggest choke in the NBA history.
Oh, big time.
At that time
against the Nuggets, right?
Yeah, the 1 versus 8. I believe it was Dikembe Mutombo's rookie year.
Yep.
He just kind of ended what at the time was, I believe they'd set the record for most wins at that time in a season. I think they won 68, 69 69 games, something like that. They were unbelievable during the regular season.
And they got beat in the first round.
First time ever, an 8 seed beat a 1 seed.
I remember that.
Going back to jerseys, logos, jerseys, the one that I really think is just missed more than anything, that old Denver Nuggets jersey logo.
Yeah.
The one with all the colors and the city in the backdrop.
Yeah, those were cool.
Those were really cool.
Those were cool.
I can only think of, for whatever reason, Kiki Vandeweghe is the guy that comes to mind when I think of those jerseys because we're talking mid-'80s. Like Alex English and Kiki Vandeweghe and other, I can't think of any more guys from that team. But anyways, that's who I'm thinking of. Even Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf might have been on those teams back then.
Yeah.
I know he was part of that team with Mutombo, but he might have started when he was Chris Jackson.
When he was Chris Jackson, I think you're right.
So Joey, one more logo before we go off.
Ooh, putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good one.
Because Denver's unbelievable.
I mean, I certainly don't miss the old school Falcons ones that they had back in the day.
Yeah.
The red ones that they used to have. When Jerry Glanville took over, he actually changed them because he was the man in black when it came to sports.
Yeah.
And he changed them all to black. They looked so much better. I hated the red. They were all red. Do you remember the all red?
Yes, they were
I
all
hated
red.
them. And the Falcons, for you that don't know, the Falcons are my favorite football team. And it was just, they just looked so, they looked like glorified peacocks in those things. They were so ugly.
Yes.
And once Glanville brought in the black, it brought in a whole new attitude kind of. And the Falcons actually started winning.
Yeah.
We had Deion Sanders, Tim McKyer in the secondary. They got famous for picking it off, lateraling it to each other, taking it back for touchdowns.
Right.
And it was all just an attitude thing. And it just, I don't know. I'm glad that they went that direction.
Yeah. I got to tell you, Joey, my favorite of all time, though, and I think you're going to at least shake your head in agreement that this was a very good logo and is sadly missed. The Houston Oilers.
Yeah.
Warren Moon, the electric slide with Ernest Givens. I mean, when we were kids, that was revolutionary offense.
That receiving core was insane.
The baby blue jerseys, the Oiler, the oil rig on the side of the helmet.
Yep.
Warren Moon was iconic at the time.
They had like Haywood Jeffries, Curtis Duncan.
Yeah, Ernest Givens, and we're forgetting one guy.
Yep, there's one more because they had four.
They had four, and he was probably the best one too.
Webster Slaughter.
Yes.
Yep. So Yeah, that was.
They were a fun team.
They were. And
Unfortunately,
they never won it either.
That's because of Frank Reich.
Yes, it was because I was talking about that with my cousin this past weekend.
That was
35-3 they were up. I remember watching that whole game.
The one guy, Frank Reich, that was his game.
Yep.
That was his legacy.
No matter what, you're always, when you think of Frank Reich, that's what you're always going to think of first.
Yeah,
Even
forever.
probably his family members.
Probably.
Yeah, no, that's how iconic that performance was.
It was unbelievable.
It was.
I didn't even know who the guy was before he did that because Jim Kelly never missed games back then.
No.
So Frank Reich coming out of the basically the stands essentially.
Yeah.
So no, pretty amazing story there.
It was.
So that's my favorite logo of all time.
Yeah,
and it's more so the nostalgic enjoyment of playing Tecmo Bowl with that group.
Yeah.
Watching them on Sundays because, I've always liked 3-point shootings in the NBA, 3-point shooting in the NBA. I've always enjoyed passing in the NFL. And they were really the first team that was an elite passing team, like the whole team. Dan Marino was a great quarterback, but man, that whole team was built around passing.
Absolutely.
Team. So that was kind of like the nuanced offense before we've got everything now. And so the nostalgic, the logo, Warren Moon, all of it just leaves the Oilers as my number one.
Yeah.
We did forget one thing, though. The iconic Charlotte Hornets starter jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Every kid owned that jacket.
Uh-huh.
The Hornets were no good. They just had Grandmama Larry Johnson.
And then mourning with him for a little bit.
Yeah, but man, did everybody own that starter jacket.
Yeah,
purple and teal. And, oh, man. I imagine some people still have it.
You were a rock star if you had one, or you felt like one anyway.
I would guess at this point, Goodwill probably has a bunch of them, and people probably scoop them up when they find them.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure the nostalgic hits like, oh, I had that when I was a kid. I'm sure it doesn't fit them anymore.
No.
And if I found one,
I would keep it. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So anyways, that was fun, Joey. A nice little walk down the memory lane there of logos.
Of course.
So here we go, Joey. Last week we had a random athlete quiz. You guessed Glenn Rice, which caught me a little surprised.
It was difficult.
How quickly you got it because I thought it might be a difficult one.
It was.
This week you've got to challenge me.
All right. So I have one. I think it's easy, but I may be wrong.
Okay.
All right. Played power forward at North Carolina from 1994 to 1995. Won 95 national championship. Drafted number 4 overall by the then Washington Bullets. Ooh. Traded in 96 to the Blazers.
Okay.
This is where I think it gives it away. Played 96 to 2004 Portland. Then he was a back-to-back All-Star in 2000 and 2001. Led the Blazers to back-to-back conference finals in 99-2000. Traded to the Hawks in February 2004, played one game before being traded to the Detroit Pistons. Led Detroit to the 04 championship and 05 finals. Played from the Celtics from 2009 to 2010. The next, which I didn't know about, from 2012 to 2013. Career average of 14.4 points per game and 6.7 rebounds, and that's when my pen ran out of ink.
So I thought I didn't know who it was when you said the Hawks. And then
the Pistons gave it away.
Then it came back to the Pistons, and I started thinking that I think it's the same guy. I just don't recall this Atlanta Hawks for one.
I don't either.
Short
but it was
period
one
of time
day
thing. So, knowing the guy that I'm going to guess, I'm guessing he probably ran his mouth out of Atlanta or something like that. Because I don't think they were great back then. I'm guessing Rasheed Wallace.
You are correct.
Yep, Rasheed. He was a fun player for all those years.
I didn't get to put the one thing that was going to actually give it away.
Yeah.
Third most technicals in NBA history and the most ejections in one season in NBA history.
Yeah.
But the ink ran out, and I was like, that's enough. He'll get it. Once he gets from Portland to Detroit, that's where I think it's going to.
Yeah, the Hawks thing threw me.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember it. And
There's only one game.
I almost went deep into thought to try to figure out who this person could be that had the same career path as Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah.
That wasn't
Rasheed Wallace.
To the Hawks.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was good, Joey. So we got 2 out of 2 this week, or this show for the both of us so far. So, eventually once we get this show going live here, it'll be nice to maybe get this interactive and
absolutely.
see if we
be
get some people guessing on some of our random players here. So, Joey, I'm going to hand this over to you for your final thoughts for this week's episode. I know the first week you had a nice segment on Ryan Sandberg, so I'm curious to see what you come up with today.
Well, this week I was going to talk about the opening full week of college football because we had a lot of I don't remember it being a weekend with this many top matchups. You and I both had a good weekend. Your team, Florida State, unranked Florida State at the time, upset number 8 Alabama in pretty convincing fashion, 31-17.
Yep.
My favorite team, Miami Hurricanes, got off to a really good start against Notre Dame, let them come back, but ultimately held on to win 27-24, which is good for me in two ways. Because one, Miami's my favorite team in any sport, and two, my father's a Notre Dame fan, so we have that rivalry going for us. But also LSU winning to Clemson and upset Clemson, pretty convincingly as well. And I was working for the most part, so I didn't really get to see it. But one of the most boring 1 versus 3 matchups of all time, Ohio State beating Texas 14-7.
Yeah, low scoring.
Yeah, low scoring. So most of them, those two, LSU and Clemson, were both low scoring games, and Texas and Ohio State. So I didn't really watch either one of them. But the Miami game was really good. It was really exciting. Came down to the wire. And that was my takeaway from week 1 in college football.
Nice. My final thoughts are going to be both focused on the New England Patriots this week. The Patriots start this season with a road game at Oakland, or not Oakland, I'm sorry, the Las Vegas Raiders now. Former quarterback Tom Brady is part owner of the Raiders. I'm excited a little bit about the Patriots this year, not so much because I think they're a contender, but I'm excited that they brought in adults and NFL players to fill out their roster, and I feel like it's not going to be a dumpster fire for this team this year. They're going to make the right play. I don't think they're going to be super exciting. I think it's going to be a lot of low scoring, 17-14, 20-17 type of games, but they're at least going to be competitive and maybe win 6, 7, 8 games this year, as opposed to the bottom having fallen out the last couple of years. And just getting actual NFL starters, like coming in to play on your offensive line instead of the random people they keep finding who end up retiring before the season even starts, like the guy Okafor from last year. It has me a little excited to watch Patriots football again for the first time in probably 4 or 5 years. Last year was the first time since the Steve Grogan era, really, that it was that hard to watch last year. So this year is pretty exciting to just have some adults in the room again. So on that note, that's my final thoughts.
Well
So now we're going to move, look at our next episode, Joey. So I think the next episode, we're just going to keep moving on in the same direction. We're going to have a lot of sports scores to report based on what we've just read off for what's upcoming this week. So that's going to be exciting. Yes. I'm going to attend a few more games. You and I might get off to see some youth field hockey next week to write a little piece on that. So next week's show, I think, is going to be a lot of local sports.
Absolutely, Joe. I'm looking forward to it.
And I think it's going to be very exciting.
And you'll have a guest athlete for me to get our guests on the trivia next week. So
that's right. And I'm starting to get some of the coaches reaching out to me, and we're going to start having some coaches and interviews, players perhaps after games that I attend and stuff like that. So we'll have some of that going on as well. So all in all, Joey, I think we're getting to an exciting place with the show, and I'm looking forward to what's coming down the road.
Absolutely. Me as well, Joe.
All right. Well, thank you, Joey. That's it for this week's episode of the River Valley Sports Report. Please join us next time for River Valley Sports Report. I'm Joe Brooks, my co-host Joey Powers. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.